Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
6 arrests. 6 or 7 more under investigation. And why? Because, as President Trump put it, thugs went after the reflecting pool with probably a box cutter and started ripping up the liner of one of America's most iconic public spaces right before the country's 250th birthday celebration. The one detail tells you everything. Trump restored the National Mall, got the reflecting pool back to beautiful blue. And the anti-American Democrat culture answered with sabotage, slime, and criminal destruction. Now you've got fencing, surveillance tools, and troops guarding a pool because radicals cannot stand the sight of a patriotic capital under Donald Trump. That's the story, and it gets worse for the vandals. You see, this matters because the reflecting pool is not some random patch of pavement. It's your capital, your monuments, your tax dollars, your country's front yard 2 weeks before America's 250th birthday. And anti-American radicals turned it into a target. President Trump spelled it out. 6 have been arrested, and like 6 or 7 are under investigation. He laid out the method too. He said these thugs probably went with a box cutter or a sharp razor, cut the expensive liner, started ripping it up. That's not a protest. That is vandal warfare against a national symbol. And look at the result. Fencing going up around the reflecting pool, new surveillance tools lining the edge, troops patrolling to make sure nobody touches the water. Families should be walking through a restored patriotic mall. Instead, America has to guard it from the Democrat culture of filth that celebrates algae, sneers at order, and panics whenever Trump makes Washington look proud, clean, and unmistakably American again. See, when things need box cutters to wreck a national symbol, I want something stronger than the junk that the regime pushes. And after trying hundreds of supplements, C60 Evo crushed everything else. This Nobel Prize-winning molecule is not just another antioxidant. It works at the cellular level, where aging actually happens. My brain fog gone. Joint pain virtually eliminated. My wife's skin looks 10 years younger. My energy, 20 years younger. See, the Paris study called it the longest life extension in history. Lab animals live 90% longer. So that means I'm not going away. Hate to break it to the haters. See, this is 172 times more powerful than vitamin C. It's worth more than gold per ounce, and they've been making it since '91 in a Houston lab. Get exclusive savings, more energy, clearer thinking, better skin, and feel young again at c60evo.com/NNN. Use code NNN at checkout. Build, don't rot. Now here's the part that the legacy media just can't spin away. While troops patrolled the water and fencing boxed off the reflecting pool, the celebration itself kept roaring ahead. One outlet on the ground called America 250 a real carnival atmosphere. Military bands filed in. The Air Force choir filed in. Families came to celebrate anyway. See, that contrast kills the Democrat narrative. Their side brought razors, algae theater, and misery. Trump brought order, blue water, music, and a national birthday party. Now I'm going to show you what everyone's talking about, because the visuals alone bury the propagandists. Emily Miller. The Great American State Fair starts tonight with President Trump's rally. Enthusiasm is contagious. Just getting started. Back in D.C., crews already locking down the reflecting pool of fencing, going up in the rain. So sad that they have to do this. The left has just lost its freaking minds. So the barricade is going up next. Here's the surveillance towers and troop patrols lining the edge of the pool to stop any more tampering. That's what it's come to. So not just a routine setup Now Trump explains why, saying 6 have already been arrested after thugs sliced up the pool liner. Here he is in the Oval Office talking about the vandalism at the reflecting pool.
The pool? Yeah, it's in great shape. No. Ready? Thugs. They just told me a little while ago 6 have been arrested and like 6 or 7 are under investigation. They have pictures and everything else. They went to the bottom, and it's not a paint job. It's very expensive. It's not rubber, but it's like rubber. And they went down with probably a box cutter or a very sharp razor of some kind or knife, and they cut, and then they started ripping it up. You know why? Because they're sick people. And then the side of the pool, right at water level, they took razors and they started cutting this, very expensive stuff. It's incredible stuff. It's beautiful. And it was and it's still beautiful. But we have one area where they cut it, it's still holding, it's not leaking. But they heard it. So in about probably maybe after July 4th or maybe before, I don't know, we'll let a little water out because it's at the edge. They'll cut it, they'll replace it, and it'll be as good as new. But these people should go to jail for a long time. There's a statute that I signed when I had my first term, that if you do anything to hurt statues or monuments, fountains in Washington, D.C., or federal fountain, it's actually federal all over the country, but you go to jail for 10 years and there's no shortcuts. In other words, it's not 5 years for good behavior. It's a very tough statute, and so tough that it really hasn't been used very much over the years. But I used it when they had a problem in Washington where they were trying to hurt, the sickos were trying to hurt things. And I announced it. As soon as I announced it, read it, announced it, and I said 10 years for anybody, everybody dropped what they had, including ropes. They had ropes. They were tying ropes around Thomas Jefferson's head, Andrew Jackson right up there. They had a rope around his head on that incredible statue. As soon as I invoked it, everybody left. That's still in play. They could go to jail for 10 years. They better be careful. They have a gash on that beautiful pool. It's a reflecting pond. This is the most very expensive material. Then on top of it, we did a much bigger job than we said we were going to do because we did all the outer areas and everything. We did a beautiful job. It's like a piece of glass. And for some reason, this disturbed the radical left lunatics. One of the guys, he's a member or a big payer to Act Blue. He's a big Hillary supporter. He's a big supporter of Sleepy Joe Biden. This is a very political thing. But as I understand it, 6 are under arrest. This was pure vandalism. It's an amazing thing that we did. Don't forget, it hasn't worked properly since it was built because it always leaked in 1922. So it was built in 1922. So that's 100 years more ago. It's never worked properly. I always say it had great potential.
So Trump says it was deliberate vandalism. Suspects could face serious time next. We check on the pool itself where crews are still dealing with the mess in the water. Pumping ozone into the water kills the algae, but it is looking much better now. Beautiful blue. Much better. So after the sabotage and the cleanup, here's the result. Liberals hated seeing the reflecting pool turning blue again. Trump getting the credit. Here is Ben Berquam.
Made it down to the reflecting pond, and it's blue, baby. Yes, God bless America. The question I have for the liberals, especially the miserable ones out here wearing their algae outfits that are celebrating the algae that they put in there, what are you running for? Do you have any policies other than hating President Trump, hating ICE, and hating babies? That seems to be all the Democrats run on anymore. God bless America. It looks beautiful. You don't have to be a miserable liberal. You too can be happy. Reject the lies, reject the hate, invite Jesus into your heart. Not jihad, not communism. You need Jesus.
Amen.
Rashida, you need Jesus. Enjoy the blue, baby. Beautiful blue. Look at that. That is awesome. Very nice. Nice job, President Trump. And your pool guy.
Ben Berquam. Pool looking sharp again, but the damage done by the left didn't end there. More from the fenced-off grounds and the surveillance units. So even with the fences and the cameras cluttering the mall, celebration moved forward next. Real America's Voice shows the America 250 kickoff, drawing a packed crowd and full-on carnival atmosphere.
Right, so we're in a riser between the Capitol and the Washington Monument. So the Washington Monument is actually behind the stage. But what we've been seeing over the last, say, half hour is hundreds of members of military bands and the Air Force Choir. You have the Army Marching Band, the Army Rock and Roll Band called Downrange. You have the Marine Corps Band. They're all filing in. They're all getting ready. About 15 minutes ago, there were about 40 or 50 members of the Diplomatic Corps who are being brought in, and other luminaries are being brought in. And sort of over my right shoulder, Luke, I don't know if you can swing over there, but this sort of the distinguished visitors section over my right shoulder, and their people are just, I know things are tense and I know there's a lot going on, but I think people are taking a breather. A lot of sort of staffers and operatives and contributors are really buying into this celebration. And so you're seeing people connect and mix and network, and it's a real carnival atmosphere here, Steve.
Neil McCabe with Real America's Voice. Met him a few times at the White House. That man is a true asset to real journalism. And some of the stories he shared with me, man, he knows where the bodies are buried. Pay attention to his reporting. That's why I do it. So, the moral verdict, it lands right on that torn liner. President Donald Trump restored a national showpiece for America's 250th. Anti-American Democrat culture answered by slashing it with probably a box cutter. Then Washington had to throw up fencing, roll out surveillance tools, and post troops around the reflecting pool like it was a crime scene, because it was. And every Democrat operative who spent weeks sneering at the restoration, hyping algae, and treating a pool like a propaganda prop helped build the climate for this garbage. These people do not create beauty, they attack it. They do not unite the country, they punish anybody who loves it. Trump cleaned the pool. The radicals cut it. That contrast is so brutal, even the media parasites can't hide from it now. So remember the image that matters. Not the staged sneering, not the algae costumes, not the usual CNN pool detective routine. Remember the before and after. Fencing going up, surveillance units parked by the water, troops guarding the reflecting pool after vandals ripped it with blades, and then remember the other image, the reflecting pool back to beautiful blue. America 250 rolling with a real carnival atmosphere, military bands filing in, the Air Force Choir stepping up, and the Great American State Fair kicking off with a President Trump rally and contagious enthusiasm. That's the whole fight in one frame. Trump builds, Democrats deface. Trump restores, the radicals rot. Jailed the vandals for a long time. Name every Democrat who fed this poison and stop calling these people harmless. If that fires you up, send this to one person who still thinks this is just politics. It's your country's birthday, and patriots are taking it back. And I want to make sure you take back the notifications that never arrive. That's why I set up this number. That's why I talk about it at the end of every segment. It's so important. Thousands and thousands of patriots are already on the inside track getting the news direct from me. They're texting the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. I want you to do it too. What are you waiting for? It's time to get on the inside track with the Next News Network. And let's celebrate America 250 together. Go to the Next News merch shelf below this video or shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.